How often do you find yourself staying quiet when your heart screams to speak? Have you ever let someone's harsh words slide, convincing yourself it's not worth the argument? Or perhaps you've seen injustice unfold, but told yourself it's none of your business. Imagine wearing shoes filled with tiny pebbles. At first you think you can manage, but every step becomes more painful until you're limping. Staying silent when you should speak up is just like those pebbles. It seems easier at first, but it only makes the journey harder and more painful. Staying silent in critical moments is like watching a house catch fire and deciding it's too early to call the fire department. By the time you act, the damage is already done. We've all been there, biting our tongues in meetings, ignoring that sinking feeling in personal relationships, or staying quiet when our values are trampled. But have you ever stopped to think about the cost of that silence? In this video, we'll explore 6 situations where silence can do more harm than good. Don't miss the 5th point and stick around for the last one. It might just redefine how you view confrontation. Before we start the video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because in the next video, I'll reveal 6 things an intelligent person never says. If this resonates with you, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let's get started. Number 1. When your values are compromised, silence can sometimes feel like a shield, a way to deflect conflict and protect fragile peace. But in moments where your values are under attack, that silence becomes a double-edged sword. It doesn't shield you, it cuts away at your principles, leaving them to wither like unwatered roots. Stoicism teaches us that our values are the foundation of who we are. They guide our actions, shape our character, and define our purpose. When we fail to defend them, it's like watching the keystone of an arch crumble, risking the collapse of everything it supports. Have you ever felt like a lighthouse, standing firm while waves of doubt crashed against you? Perhaps a close friend dismissed something you deeply believe in, or a professional situation forced you to choose between integrity and convenience. Staying quiet in those moments might feel like an anchor keeping the peace, but at what cost? That silence doesn't just protect calm waters, it leaves your ship adrift, untethered from the values that guide you. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's greatest voices, reminds us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. This simple yet profound advice serves as a compass, pointing us toward the uncomfortable truth. Defending your values requires action, even when it feels like walking into a storm. Let me share a personal story. Early in my career, I worked for an organization that encouraged cutting corners to maximize profits. While others saw it as clever navigation through turbulent business seas, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were sailing dangerously close to the edge of ethical cliffs. For months, I stayed silent, convincing myself that it wasn't my place to steer the ship. But the longer I stayed quiet, the more I felt like I was sinking, not just as an employee, but as a person. One day, during a team meeting, I finally spoke up. My voice trembled like the first flicker of a candle in a dark room as I raised concerns about a specific project's ethical implications. The reaction was mixed. Some dismissed my concerns as unnecessary, while others silently nodded in agreement. The conversation didn't immediately shift the course of the company, but it planted seeds of awareness. More importantly, it reminded me of the power of standing by my values, even when the winds of opposition blew strong. Stoicism teaches us that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the resolve to act despite it. When your values are compromised, speaking up is like lighting a beacon. It doesn't erase the storm, but it provides clarity and direction. Each time you stand firm, you reinforce your moral foundation, becoming a lighthouse for others lost in the fog of doubt. How do you navigate such situations effectively? Start with clarity, understand your values deeply and why they matter to you. This self-awareness is your map, giving you the confidence to articulate your stance without aggression or defensiveness. Focus on the principle, not the person, like steering a ship towards safe waters instead of into the rocks. Frame the conversation as an opportunity for mutual understanding, not as a clash of wills. Remember, defending your values doesn't always mean winning the argument. Sometimes it's simply about ensuring that your voice is heard, like a steady drumbeat cutting through the noise. By standing up, you affirm your integrity and signal to the world and yourself that your principles are non-negotiable. The next time your values are challenged, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? The answer will serve as your North Star, guiding your response. As Epictetus wisely said, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. In a world that often rewards conformity, let your values be the compass that guides your journey. Speak up, not to impose them on others, but to remain true to yourself, because silence may preserve temporary comfort, but only action can uphold enduring integrity. Number 2. When someone is being unjustly treated. Silence often masquerades as neutrality, a cloak we wear to sidestep confrontation and avoid drawing attention to ourselves. But in the face of injustice, that cloak becomes a shadow. It doesn't protect anyone. It only allows harm to thrive in the dark. Stoicism teaches us that justice is not just a virtue, but a moral responsibility. Turning away when someone is treated unfairly is like watching a fire spread while holding a bucket of water in your hands and refusing to act. Have you ever stood on the sidelines, witnessing someone wronged, a colleague blamed for a mistake they didn't make, or a friend facing unwarranted criticism? In those moments, staying silent might feel like staying safe, as if stepping back would make the storm pass sooner. But every moment of silence is like adding fuel to the flames, letting the harm intensify. Marcus Aurelius captured this truth when he said, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." Injustice, left unchallenged, doesn't just harm the individual, it corrodes the trust and dignity of the entire community. I once found myself in this exact situation early in my career. A teammate was unfairly reprimanded for a project delay caused by circumstances beyond their control. The room felt like a vacuum, heavy with tension and unspoken words. I wanted to speak up, but fear anchored me in place. What if defending them put my own position at risk? What if I made things worse instead of better? That moment haunted me for weeks. My silence felt like a betrayal, not just of my teammate, but of my principles. It was as if I'd been handed a torch and refused to light it, leaving them in the cold darkness of isolation. That experience taught me a lesson I carry to this day. Fear may hold you back in the moment, but the guilt of inaction lingers far longer. Stoicism teaches us that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to act despite it. Speaking up for someone being treated unjustly doesn't require grand heroics. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. Even the smallest flame can illuminate the truth and push back the shadows. So how can you intervene effectively? Start with empathy. Ground yourself in understanding, like stepping into their shoes to feel the weight they carry. When you speak, let your words be steady and composed, like the calm ripple of water smoothing over rough currents. Focus on addressing the behavior, not the person, to avoid escalating the situation. Statements like, "I think there's more to this situation we should consider," or "Let's hear their perspective before drawing conclusions," create space for fairness without confrontation. It's also essential to remember that your actions may not immediately resolve the injustice, but courage is contagious, and even a single act of defiance can ripple outward, encouraging others to stand up as well. Injustice thrives in darkness, like a fungus spreading in the shadows. By shining a light, no matter how small, you start the process of healing. The next time you witness someone being treated unfairly, ask yourself, what would I hope for if I were in their place? That question will guide you toward action. As Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. By choosing to act against injustice, you master your fears and align yourself with virtue. Justice isn't just about large-scale societal change. It's about the small, everyday moments where we choose to protect dignity and fairness. Speak up not because it's easy, but because it's right. Each time you do, you strengthen the bonds of humanity and fortify your own character. Number 3, when your integrity is under attack. Integrity is the cornerstone of a meaningful life, the foundation upon which trust, respect, and self-worth are built. It's like the roots of a mighty oak tree, anchoring you through life's storms. But there are moments when those roots are tested, when falsehoods swirl around like a strong wind trying to uproot you. In such situations, staying silent might feel like taking the high road, but in reality, that silence is like leaving the door ajar for the storm to come in. It can be misconstrued as weakness, guilt, or an admission of wrongdoing. Defending your integrity isn't about shouting down lies or proving others wrong. It's about standing firm in your truth, like that oak tree, and holding on to your inner peace. As Seneca, one of Stoicism's great minds, wisely said, "A good character is not something you can acquire easily, but it is worth protecting with all your might." This reminder reinforces that while we can't control what others say, we can control how we respond. I once faced a situation where a colleague spread false information about me during a critical project. At first, I hoped my work would speak for itself, like the sun breaking through clouds to reveal the truth. But as the rumors spread, they began to cast longer shadows, not just on my reputation, but on the trust within our team. Ignoring it felt like letting weeds grow unchecked in a garden, small at first, but capable of choking everything around them if left alone. Finally, I decided to act. During a team meeting, I addressed the situation directly but calmly. I laid out the facts, like a clear map dispelling the fog of misinformation. I highlighted my contributions and offered documentation to back my claims. My voice was steady, free of anger or defensiveness. That approach resolved the issue and reinforced my credibility. By staying composed, I showed that the truth doesn't need theatrics to shine. It just needs clarity and conviction. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control others' opinions, we can control our actions. When your integrity is under attack, reacting with anger or defensiveness is like throwing fuel on a fire. Instead, respond with logic and poise, like pouring water on the flames. Here's how to navigate such challenges effectively. Remain composed. Your demeanor is your shield. Staying calm under pressure is like standing still in a whirlwind. It demonstrates strength and stability. Stick to the facts. Address the situation, not the person. Let the truth be your sword, sharp and precise, cutting through falsehoods without unnecessary aggression. Let actions speak. Your consistent behavior is like a beacon, proof over time that integrity isn't just words, but a way of life. While it may seem unfair to defend yourself against lies, consider this. Every challenge to your integrity is an opportunity to strengthen it. Just as a blade becomes sharper with each strike against a whetstone, your character grows stronger each time you face adversity with courage and composure. As Seneca said, "A good character is worth protecting with all your might." The next time your character is questioned, choose your battles wisely. Engage not to win approval, but to uphold your truth. And above all, let your consistent actions reaffirm the integrity you stand for, like a steady flame that cannot be extinguished by passing winds. If you've watched the video this far, make sure to comment "Thank God" to let us know you're with us. Number 4. When you see a path for improvement, opportunities for improvement often present themselves in subtle ways: a flawed process, an overlooked idea, or a better solution to a persistent problem. In these moments, staying silent may feel easier. Perhaps you're worried about stepping on someone's toes or drawing unnecessary attention to yourself. But choosing silence over action doesn't just allow inefficiency or mediocrity to persist. It robs you of the chance to make a meaningful impact. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and one of the greatest things we control is our ability to contribute positively. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." In other words, improvement begins with action. I remember a time when my team was working on a major project. The process we were using was slow and prone to errors. It was clear to me that we could streamline it by adopting a tool I had used successfully in the past. But I hesitated to share my idea. What if the suggestion wasn't well received? What if my colleagues thought I was overstepping? Eventually, I decided that the potential benefits outweighed my fear of rejection. During our next meeting, I proposed the new method, explaining how it could save time and reduce errors. To my surprise, the team was not only receptive but excited. The change was implemented, and it transformed the way we worked. That experience taught me that improvement often begins with the courage to speak up, even when it feels risky. When you see a path for improvement, the key is in how you communicate your idea. Here are a few strategies to ensure your input is both constructive and well received. Frame it positively. Present your suggestion as an opportunity, not a criticism. Instead of pointing out what's wrong, emphasize the potential benefits of your idea. Be specific. Clearly outline your suggestion and back it up with evidence or examples of its success elsewhere. This builds credibility and shows that your input is thoughtful. Be collaborative. Involve others in the conversation by seeking their feedback and inviting them to refine your idea. This fosters a sense of shared ownership and reduces resistance. Stoicism also reminds us to act without attachment to the outcome. Your idea may not always be accepted, but the act of speaking up reflects your commitment to growth and excellence. Even if your suggestion isn't implemented, it plants a seed of possibility for the future. The next time you notice an opportunity for improvement, ask yourself, will I regret not saying something? Often, the answer will push you toward action. By choosing to contribute, you not only elevate the situation, but also demonstrate leadership and initiative. Improvement requires discomfort. It's part of the process. But as the Stoics teach, growth comes from stepping into that discomfort and choosing to act for the greater good. Speak up, not to prove your worth, but to make a difference. Because every positive change, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect that inspires others to do the same. Number 5, when you witness someone being bullied. Bullying is a display of power, a tactic to control or demean others. But its true strength doesn't come from the bully. It comes from the silence of those who watch and do nothing. When we witness bullying and choose not to intervene, we inadvertently allow the behavior to persist, giving it the room to grow. Stoic philosophy teaches us that courage and compassion go hand in hand. Standing up for someone who cannot defend themselves is not just an act of bravery, it's a reflection of our shared humanity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What injures the hive, injures the bee." This powerful statement reminds us that harm done to one member of our community ultimately affects us all. When someone is bullied, the damage extends beyond the victim. It weakens the fabric of trust, respect, and safety that binds us together. I once witnessed a colleague being repeatedly belittled by a superior during team meetings. Their ideas were dismissed, and their confidence was chipped away bit by bit. The room would grow quiet during these interactions, with everyone avoiding eye contact, including me. I justified my silence, telling myself it wasn't my place to interfere. But deep down, I knew that by saying nothing, I was complicit in their mistreatment. One day, I decided I couldn't stay silent any longer. During a meeting, when the superior interrupted and dismissed my colleague yet again, I calmly interjected. "I think their point deserves further consideration," I said, redirecting the conversation. The room shifted, and for the first time my colleague's idea was given attention. This small act of support changed the dynamic. It didn't end the bullying overnight, but it sent a clear message. Their behavior would not go unchallenged. More importantly, it showed the victim they weren't alone. When you witness bullying, your response doesn't need to be dramatic or confrontational. What matters is that you act. Here's how you can do it effectively. Interrupt the behavior. Calmly interject to redirect attention away from the bully. Use neutral language to avoid escalating the situation. Support the victim. After the incident, reach out to the person being bullied. Let them know you saw what happened and that you're there for them. Sometimes your support can be the lifeline they need. Involve others. If the bullying persists, bring it to the attention of someone in authority who can address the behavior constructively. Standing up to bullying is never easy, but it is necessary. The Stoics remind us that courage is not about fearlessness. It's about choosing to act despite fear. By intervening, you not only protect the victim, but also strengthen your own character. The next time you witness bullying, remember this. Your silence may preserve your comfort in the moment, but it allows harm to persist unchecked. Speaking up may feel uncomfortable, but it is an act of strength, compassion, and integrity. As Epictetus wisely said, "No great thing is created suddenly." The same goes for a culture of kindness and respect. It's built one action at a time by individuals who choose to stand up when it matters most. Speak up not to confront the bully, but to protect the dignity of someone in need, and in doing so, make the world a little brighter for all of us. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please make sure to like it. It'll take you less than 2 seconds and it'll put a big smile on my face. Number 6. When you see a loved one making a harmful decision. Watching someone you care about head down a harmful path can be one of the most challenging experiences. You may hesitate to intervene, afraid of straining your relationship or being misunderstood. But in moments like these, silence can be mistaken for indifference. Speaking up, even when it's difficult, is a profound act of love and responsibility. Stoicism teaches us the importance of compassion coupled with courage. As Epictetus wisely said, we should not seek to avoid our friends' misfortunes, but to help them bear them. When you see a loved one making a harmful decision, your words have the power to guide, to heal, and to protect. I recall a time when a close friend was about to make a risky financial investment. Their excitement was palpable, but the red flags were obvious: an untrustworthy partner, vague terms, and unrealistic promises. I hesitated to voice my concerns, not wanting to come across as unsupportive. But the thought of staying silent while they jeopardized their future weighed heavily on me. Eventually, I gathered the courage to share my perspective. "I see how excited you are about this opportunity," I began, "but I think it's important to look at some of the risks more closely." While they were initially defensive, the conversation planted a seed of caution. They eventually decided to back out of the deal after doing more research they later admitted they wouldn't have done if I hadn't spoken up. Intervening in these situations isn't about control or proving you're right. It's about offering a perspective grounded in care and concern. Here are some ways to approach such conversations effectively. Choose the right time and place. Discuss sensitive matters in a private, calm setting where you can both focus on the conversation without distractions. Lead with empathy. Start by acknowledging their perspective and expressing your care for them. For example, "I know this means a lot to you, and I want to make sure you've considered all the angles because I care about you." Present your concerns gently. Share your observations without judgment. Focus on the potential consequences of their actions rather than labeling their decision as wrong. Respect their autonomy. Ultimately, the decision is theirs to make. Your role is to offer guidance, not to impose your will. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control. While you can't force someone to change their path, you can ensure that your silence is not mistaken for apathy. Speaking up demonstrates your commitment to their well-being, even if your words aren't immediately embraced. When faced with such situations, ask yourself, what would I hope for if I were in their position? The answer will often guide you toward action. True care isn't always comfortable, but it is always honest. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." When you see a loved one making a harmful decision, silence is not the path of love, it's the path of avoidance. Speak up, not to judge or control, but to offer the gift of perspective. Your courage to act, even in the face of discomfort, reflects the depth of your care and strengthens the bond you share.